The
Been following
Chinese
all
air
this
balloon.
NBA trade rumors and stuff today. This is the day that all the basketball players get traded.
Yeah,
It's crazy. They don't even know what's about to happen, and then their team just trades them. Can you imagine that?
I'm
You're
sure
just like a
people.
you're just like a multi-millionaire basketball player. You've been working your whole life, and then they're like, "Yeah, you live in Detroit now. You got a day. You better go right now."
Well, like I worked at a job where I had to fire people, and people they could read it on. You could tell all day for the 2 days the coach was
Yeah,
walking around, maybe being a little nicer to him.
I don't know, dude. I mean, just finding out you got to move. One thing, getting fired from a job or something. It's like you're at least you know where you're gonna live tomorrow.
Right.
But it's like, no, you have a whole family. You got to live in Orlando starting tomorrow.
You know the worst part is they're looking up the place they think they're gonna go. They got their wife all
Yeah,
excited. Oh, you know the Pistons are gonna take you.
yeah. No, actually, no. Salt Lake City. How's that feel for you? It's like you got to act like you're excited to go to Salt Lake City, Utah.
I forget that you're into sports. Can I ask you, what do you think of? How do you judge a man that's not into sports or doesn't know much about sports? Is he still a man to you?
He's still a man, but there's definitely a lower. You can see there's a lack of curiosity. Because in my opinion, it's like it's not like you're a lack of intelligence because you can learn about other things, but it's like clearly everybody else is interested in this thing, and unless you have some, you clearly don't want to connect with these people.
Right.
There's a
Yeah.
certain level of just being antisocial, I think.
I feel like people test me. Like I'll be out somewhere. They'll be like, "Oh, how about what Chris Paul did last night?" And I'll just be like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, well, I mean,
clue.
I think it's better to just the worst kind of guys are the guys who are like, sports are stupid, or they're trying to tell you like,
Right.
that they try to act like they're above it. But yeah, it's one thing if it's like, nah, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's
I-
if someone talks to me about hockey, I don't know. Well, yeah,
Now I remember like with me with sports, it's not because like I'm not manly. It was another thing to learn. Like I remember my uncle were watching football. He's like, now you see this guy, he's the tight end. Now look, Pate, this is fun, man. Now you got to know this dude's the quarterback. Now he's in charge of throwing the ball. These are front linemen. See the left side. I'm like, dude, okay. I don't even want to learn like the important shit.
wait, when was this though?
Like when I was a kid, like 12 or something.
So
My
you,
uncle's like,
you
what
got
do
all the
you
way to 12 without realizing how football works?
Yeah, I still don't know how it works.
No, I mean, it's not like I took a class. I
But
just
you know,
watched
you gotta.
football as a kid. No, you watch TV.
But what
You
do you
watch it.
gotta learn it?
No, I didn't. I didn't like learn it by like picking up the rule book. You just watch sports for a while. You figure out who the quarterback is and what his job is.
And the point guard, I don't know, dude. I'll watch it and I just pretend like I'm outside riding a lawnmower. I'll start daydreaming. Like I could be looking at the TV for an hour.
Wow,
They'll be like, "Do you see that touchdown?" I'll be watching the game. I won't even. I'll
wow,
be like, "No, I was thinking about something else."
jeez.
I was
But your
thinking-
family you liked sports though. You were
No, my father was never really into sports either. He's like, "Yeah, I wish I could teach you. I never learned it either."
wow.
Yeah, my father worked on cars,
I love this concept that you got to learn that someone has to teach you.
right? Like
my,
what?
my parents never taught me
Like
about
what's a
basketball.
point guard do?
I mean, he dribbles the ball down the court. He's in charge. He runs point.
See, I
He's
don't even
usually
know.
a small guy, yeah. But it's not. That's what's so funny the way you're describing it. It's like, yeah, someday I'm gonna take a community college course and how to watch TV.
I googled how to talk about football like an adult once.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like I get embarrassed. Like you see some comedians or friends by the bar. They to me when I see people talking about sports, it looks like they're in an argument relationship. Like when you see two
Yeah.
guys, it's like, why don't you guys just kiss already? Like, dude,
Right.
come on, dude, Gary or whoever. I don't even know the players. Like whatever, Brett Favre.
yeah.
Dude, Brett Favre. They'll be like, oh, you're crazy.
Part of it is just like at a certain point, what do you even talk about with anybody, right?
Yeah, the weather. It's cold outside.
Yeah, right. That can only go for so long. At least with sports, there's names involved, there's storylines, but
I could tell men instantly lose respect for me when they see I don't know what's going on with sports.
well, I think there's like it's one thing I think people have an understanding if they're like really deep into it and they know like numbers and they like salary cap numbers and stuff. There's like a certain level where it's like, all right, maybe they're not into that much, but it's like, all right, the Super Bowl is on Sunday. Do you know who's playing?
The Super Bowl is this
It
Sunday.
is, yeah.
Are the Eagles in it?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay,
That's
cool.
just guessing.
Yeah. I don't know who the other one is.
It's the Chiefs.
The
But it's like
Chiefs.
there's a certain level of I mean like most people are going to know that much at least.
Right.
So it's like you can connect on that level. You might know who the quarterbacks are or who,
I need to start watching it just
It's too
for-
late now though.
You think?
Nah, you're not. You're not picking it up at this point.
It might be like those guys.
You
that
got to
get
learn that shit when you're a kid. It's like riding. Yeah.
I don't know because I might like it more. Like, what about you ever see them people that get into weed when they're like 38?
Oh yeah. Weed. You don't have to. That's an experience though. You don't have to learn about the technicalities of it.
I mean, that's what kept me away from smoking weed so long. I didn't know. I remember the first time I ever messed with weed, I was going to put it in my butt. My friend's like, dude, I didn't want to smoke nothing. I was an athlete.
Oh,
He's like,
wow.
that's not going to do anything. Like, I
Yeah,
knew
it
if
might
you
do
put
something.
alcohol in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. My friend was a weed head. He's like, you got to heat it up, for it to
Wow.
work. Yeah.
Wait. So what did you think was going to happen?
I don't know. I never wanted to smoke anything, and I tried it once when I was 18, and I blew it out. They're like, get him out of the room.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I what do you call it? Instead of hitting it, I blew through it, trying to fool my friends.
Right. But I mean, I feel like that's not. Look, there's nothing wrong with not smoking weed. A lot of
there's
people don't
grinder,
smoke. Yeah.
but you gotta know how to roll a joint and grind it, and then there's bowls with carburetors on them.
Wow.
Give somebody a bowl with the thing that comes out, and just tell them to figure it out. They won't-
Right. Yeah. That's what's always surprising to me when you see somebody smoking crack. You ever seen somebody actually smoke crack?
It's like, who taught them?
No, it's not that. It's like a process. There's like a heating thing, and you gotta have a certain kind of pipe with a butane lighter.
Yeah, I know
And
the
there's like
lighter thing.
there's like a tin foil thing, and you're just like trying to huff the fumes of it.
I've
But
been
it's like, how did somebody even come up with this? This is such like a scientific process.
Right. I've been seeing a lot more people smoking crack. I never got to sit here and watch it firsthand. Like, I seen it on the train, and dude, it was like I was in my living room watching a documentary.
Yeah.
This dude didn't even care.
No self-consciousness. Yeah, I've seen it on the train before too. People don't even move.
Right.
They're just on the L train. It's like, I got this. This is another thing we're dealing with right
Yeah, it stinks real bad.
now. Yeah.
I remember one time I had to give somebody a ride in the middle of the night. I gave them a TV, and they sold it. And they asked me for a ride. And then I go to this house, everybody's smoking crack. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is for the electric bill you told me about.
Wow.
All the lights were on in the house.
But you gave them your TV?
Yeah, I was like, I feel bad you don't got a TV, and I had an extra one. They had a couple kids.
Yeah.
It was just, I had a few TVs laying around at one point, and it was an older big screen or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning, everybody was smoking crack. I didn't know what it was.
Wow.
Or maybe meth. I don't know the difference.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually myself.
I'll
You
tell
kind
you.
of see the vibe of it though, I think.
Yeah, the one thing I like doing is in New York when they drop all the salt down in the subway. If you go by Port Authority, you'll see people just picking up salt and inspecting it. Like,
Wow.
they're so hopeful that it's crack.
Yeah. Wow. Man, it must be so disappointing.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine doing it. I remember one time we were doing a roofing job, and I didn't smoke either. I did no drugs, and I was just witnessing. And these guys put crack in the blunt. I guess it's called a wooly.
Yeah.
And they smoked it with this kid, man. And he was high as hell. And then they found out he was like 14.
Wow.
He just looked older.
Man. It's a cold world.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, like going back to the sports thing, it's like it's crazy to me because I would assume growing up in Ohio State college football, basketball.
Yeah, man. I went to a lot of the LeBron games. My girlfriend had tickets.
Wow.
And I would watch it and be into the moment, but I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Wow.
My thing is I always have trouble knowing what team's winning. I don't know all the teams. That's a start. Like
There's only two
Chiefs.
teams playing.
But like
This
when you
isn't
see
a math
like,
problem though.
you just see like AC on there. You're like, what is that?
Wow. It's unbelievable that you don't understand who's winning a basketball game. Of all
Yeah.
things not to understand about basketball, that's impressive to me.
Yeah, man. I never wanted to learn it. Too much stuff to learn.
Did you learn something else instead? Did something else take its place?
Yeah, you know what I did? I
Learned how to wash a car?
I memorized every single Rocky movie, word for word.
Okay, wow.
All 5 of them.
There's only right? Yeah, you lost track though. There's been about 3 more.
Yeah, those ones. I don't got time to
Even
be
the Rocky 5 wasn't even the good one.
Too much dialogue in the new ones.
Yeah. Yeah, even Rocky 2 and 5 are kind of weak. They're weak links too.
I felt like 5 was a weak link. 2 was pretty good though.
2 was basically they just ran back 1.
Yeah, that one part where he proposes to her at the zoo, they wanted to cut that out. And he was like, no, we got to have it. So they're like, all right, we'll give you one take. That's a one take shot.
Wow.
It's a walking shot.
Man.
Talia share.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd have a Rocky movie down pat. I remember the teachers be like, he can't retain information. My mother'd be like, yeah, ask him about any Rocky movie.
Wow.
I could tell you, man. I would have got so good.
Here's the thing, though. There's not that many movies we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about 5 movies.
But I got good at it. Like, dude, you could stop the VCR. Remember, you fast forward, and then you could stop it an hour or 2 in. I'm going to know the line.
Has this skill actually come in handy yet, or is it
No?
nothing? Is there any other skill, or this was basically once you realized that you had like a gift for learning the Rocky movies? Did you think like I should probably apply this to something else, or was it like a regret?
I actually learned all the a couple Eminem songs
Okay,
word for word.
Not a lot of them.
Yeah,
You learned the big ones.
Brain Damage.
Yeah,
D'Angelo Bailey.
man. It was funny though. We're talking about like what AI, because there's a lot of stuff now you can learn. I mean, like you've learned stuff online, watching YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've noticed though, since we've known each other, there's been a few things I've had to show you, like how to do stuff in Photoshop or Premiere.
Right.
And it's incredible to me how much time you spend on some of this stuff and how little progress you make.
Yeah.
You really like the learning process isn't like I'm going to start and, I'm going to learn this part and then I'm going to learn this and then I'm going to learn, and, a natural progression. It's a lot of like, I'm going to sit with this for 10 hours and whatever happens is just going to happen.
Yeah. Last night it took me about 10 hours to learn how to separate a picture from the background. Remember I did it in 10 minutes the other day? Dude, I couldn't figure it out. And the thing with Photoshop is, though, there's like 3 different ways to do everything.
Yeah,
like you could learn it one way and then be like, oh, I could do it this way too. But my thing is I'm a repetition guy. Like once I need to learn it like 4 or 5 times and really beat that in there where I'm like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then I could just go. Like even since then, I got 13. I cut up 13 clips. I did 10 today, 3 last night. Took me like, I did 10 today good in like an hour. I just got to get, my thing is the little ripples. And part of it, like a learning disability is when you face a challenge, you just walk away. Like when he told me this dude's the quarterback, he runs the plays. That's the tight end. I'm like, all right.
Wow.
This is a ripple.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Let me go eat some potato chips. Let me take a break. Too much knowledge at one time.
Yeah. It's like a hamster trying to go through a maze. It just bumps into the wall. It's like, all right, fuck this maze.
Well, people look at a learning disability like it's they're like, come on, it's not a real look at you. You look normal. You could eat and talk. And
right.
Like,
yeah. This dude can wash a car pretty good.
Yeah, this is the worst learning disability because I look normal. So when I do something messed up, you can't just be like, if the book matched its cover, they'd be like, well, I mean, look at him. He can't help it. But
yeah.
Instead, I'm an asshole.
Right.
Like, oh, I can't believe he did that.
This guy must be lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
he just doesn't want it bad enough.
Making the wrong decision in a conversation.
Right.
Maybe I was daydreaming when somebody was talking.
So do you think you actually what was the actual learning disability that you were, was there like a name for it?
There was a few different ones. I don't remember, to be honest, because one of them was short-term memory. One in
ear out the other.
Yeah, basically doesn't pay attention. I wish I knew what they were. I know personally what they are. I don't know the technical term, but I know when a lot of times if I'm reading something, say I get a book and I try to read it, I might have to read a paragraph 11 times and then I'll finally be like, wait, hold on, quit paying attention to other shit. What's he say? And then I got to really read it.
Right.
And then there's sometimes I'm really into it and I might just start to drift off. I might be reading but not really thinking.
Right.
I think it's like you could separate your brain. Like that Charlie Brown, that womp, 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 womp. That's what I used to call it. I'd get the womp womps. I'd even tell the teacher, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I got the womp womps.
Wow.
She'd be like, what's that, Tom? Do you want to go to the nurse?
Jeez.
Yeah.
So you actually, how long? I mean, like, were you actually trying in school and it wasn't connecting, or was it a certain point where you're just like, I'm just not even gonna go through this?
There was different times. Like I remember certain things. If a teacher was able to reach me somehow and make it fun, I'd be in the zone. I'm telling you, dude. I'd be like standing up. I know the answer. It's four.
Rocky Four.
Yeah. Can I act like the Terminator now? That was
Yeah.
my thing. I used to act like the tournament.
So it doesn't even sound like a learning disability. This is just a teaching thing, right?
It could be a little bit of both. Anytime I had to face a challenge, I just walked away. You know what I think it was too? It could stem down to my childhood. I remember my father was always nervous. He'd be like, "Oh, I don't want you to mess it up." We'd be building like little toy models for an 8-year-old,
Okay.
and he'd be like, "Wait till I come home. I'll glue the axle in. I don't,
Wow.
I don't want you to mess it up."
Man.
I'd be pacing around all nervous about the damn axle going in.
So it's just worried about making a mistake then.
Yeah,
Wow.
I guess so.
When's the last? Have you ever like actually taken? Do you take classes? Have you ever taken a class for something?
I thought you were gonna ask when's the last mistake I made.
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say I'm pretty sure you
Yeah.
know the last 7 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took a class. If I'm interested
You took
in
like
it,
a dance class, right?
oh yeah, that's another learning curve there.
But it's
Dancing.
like, do you think is it like, because dancing, you're not like reading something. It's like a physical act where you gotta
yeah.
do this and this and this. Is that like easier to learn that, or is it the same learning block?
Well, if you talk about daydreaming, it's a lot easier to daydream in a dance class full of hotties.
Right.
Like, they had me go to the back of the room. It's the same thing, just quick. They're like 9 steps, do this, and you got to remember all that.
Right.
It's way more than, okay, that's the tight end, that's the quarterback.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Yeah, same thing. I never can learn to dance. I took multiple dance classes. I couldn't pick it up.
Wow.
But it's a repetition thing. I'd have to like really get in my room and just dance and really get it down.
Yeah, it's like a movie.
Yeah. Now, if I just do my own thing, it's all depends on the teacher, really. These dance classes, you pay like $25. You go in a room. There's 75 other people.
It's Groupon or something.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Okay, guys, we're gonna do a 7-step." Okay, you guys see that?
Yeah.
Like, okay, slow it down. 3 steps.
Right. Yeah.
You take your left foot, you move out, shoulder drop, in, back. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Like, can you do it again? We don't have time.
But what about like you? Because you used to do like IKEA furniture on TaskRabbit.
Yeah.
Is that like how challenging is? Do you think you're like above average in terms of like learning the instructions for a TaskRabbit or like an IKEA shelf or something?
Yeah, but only because I messed so many of them up. It's not like
Yeah.
I naturally came in with this skill. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I could build an 8-drawer dresser. It was like, when you see other people and they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't know what I'm doing," I'm like, "Yeah, you should have seen my first 3 jobs."
Wow.
My first big IKEA dresser, I just bought the dresser for him.
Wow.
I was like, "Look, there's no coming back. I'll
Yeah.
come back and build it for free." I was sawing stuff in half. I just couldn't. I didn't realize how self-explanatory it is.
Right. Yeah.
Then like little mistakes. I had my drill thing too strong.
Right.
I'm the guy who gotta make all them mistakes. Same thing with them clips. Dude, I got about 100 hours in learning how to make
Wow.
clips. But now I could do it. Dude, I could bust. I'm telling you, if you
Here's
look
the
at
thing,
my
though.
clips-
To me, it's not just about learning how to do something. It's about learning how to do it right the first time. So
Yeah.
it's like you got to learn how to learn, basically.
Right.
Because it's like if you don't take the right approach in the beginning, you could be so much further along after 100 hours.
Yeah, but I got further in different ways. Like I know, same thing with I learned other stuff, Like it's not bad knowledge. I still learned other stuff.
Right. But I feel like, though, when you go into a new skill, it is so important to learn things right the first, or like just to like
Oh, right.
start with a basic foundation of this. Because all these programs, it's like it's endless, the amount of stuff to learn. It's just a matter of learning it in the proper order. Because there's some things that are much more important than others.
Right.
So there's like wide structural things that you got to learn first. And then there's like the fine details you got to learn. But it's like if you get mixed up between one and the other, you just get lost in the weeds.
Yeah, like remember when I first started doing clips, I was doing each individual letter, capitalizing it, sizing it.
Wow.
And then you showed me, nah, dude, just highlight it.
Man,
That's why
that was tragic.
knowledge is power. Like I always ask myself, if I was as smart as you, I feel like I have the ambition with
Right,
no
yeah.
mental. Like you're not going to spend 20 straight hours learning something.
No. But even like when you got your computer, you were so excited about getting.
Because you're gonna learn it.
Yeah,
in
right.
1 hour.
Well, it's like you got to sit down and understand. It's not just what you know, but it's knowing what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's known knowns and there's known unknowns. But
Like,
there's like kind of a sense of like, okay, here's what I probably should learn first. Because like even when you got your computer and you were like telling me like, I think something's wrong with this. And it's like, I don't know, you just got it. It doesn't seem like it. And you were like, no, check this out. And I was like, how do you get this to move over here? I'm like, you hold it down and you drag it.
yeah,
And it was just like, remember, it blew your mind.
dude.
And I was just like, I cannot believe you've gotten this far without knowing that. That is staggering. You must have done so many workarounds.
15 hours. And dude, I went to Geek Squad. Like, how many times would you go to Geek Squad if you didn't know how to drag a file?
Wow.
That's what you gotta ask yourself. Would you get on the train? I got the willpower. But yeah,
There's whole parts of the population that like, this is why the economy runs, is that there's some people that just don't know how to do certain stuff and they're willing to pay somebody else.
right.
There's just old people who are like, how do I open up an email on my phone? I'll show you. So that'll be $85.
Remember that guy paid us like $300 to make a TikTok video?
Yeah, exactly. People who don't know what they're paying for, those are the ones where you really start making money.
Yeah, my whole thing is I just don't I need to want to learn. I don't want to learn. Like, I need to stretch. I haven't stretched in 10 years, and I don't know any stretches. I could easily go on YouTube, proper stretches.
Yeah, there's not that many stretches.
Dr. Savvy. I don't want to learn, though.
Oh, yeah. No, but even like, yeah, that's what's funny about it is that like you're learning all this Dr. Sebi TikTok shit. And it's like, that's not even science. That's just some bullshit some guy made up. And it's like, no, that's what you end up trying to learn instead of learning basic nutrition. Instead of learning how to stretch a hamstring. It's like, no, I'm going to learn the magic of broccoli.
Yeah,
It's
bananas are poison.
yeah, right? It's what the white man doesn't want you to know about carrots.
You know the white man made broccoli. Just something for you to keep in your mind.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, broccoli's a man-made item.
Yeah, lots of things are man-made items. So it's not.
I mean, you can't just grab a seed and make broccoli.
Yeah, whatever. That doesn't see. That's here's the thing. There's important information, and there's information that's like, it's interesting, but that's not actually like leading you to a thing.
Yeah.
So there's certain things. It's like if you learn the basic foundation of like kind of the core canon of things that you should probably know, then you can basically just live a regular life. But it's like that's the problem. I feel like so many people these days, they get caught up in like the weeds.
Yeah.
People get caught up learning a conspiracy theory about like the Denver airport.
Yeah.
But then you ask them about how Congress works. They don't know.
Right.
They don't
That's
know
a good one
they don't
too.
know what the Senate is. And it's like, no, but they know about lizard people and Jeffrey Epstein. And it's like, no, you were getting way deeper than you need to get. There was a basic level that you skipped that you just like, that is the actual understanding of the subject.
I remember when I was learning Congress in school, they had this cartoon, Sing a Song. And anytime I talked
How to pass a bill?
Yeah, you remember that song?
Of course, yeah.
Any
Bill becomes a law.
Yeah. Anytime Congress would come up, I'd explain it and I'd be singing the song because that's the way I learned it.
Wow. See, you learned the song, but you didn't actually learn the thing.
Yeah.
You didn't learn the contents of the song.
Yeah. I still don't know it.
Wow. It's like in sub-Saharan Africa, and they're trying to prevent, like, during the AIDS crisis, they're trying to show people how to use condoms. So they put the condom on the banana. And then they leave, and people are just putting condoms on bananas. And it's like, no, you were paying attention. I'll give you that much. You didn't get the actual what we were trying to tell you.
Dude, it's so hard for language to get broken down. I see it when I work on these cruise ships. I feel bad for the workers. They all speak different languages. Nobody knows their language.
Wow.
And they're getting mad at them, trying to show them something. And it's like, dude, they're not dumb. You're not speaking their language.
This guy traveled 8,000 miles to be here. He's from a small village in the Philippines.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, he knows how to do a lot of shit, but yeah, you're just not speaking his language.
All that they seen was they gave the entertainers all money. We got per diem. We all worked on the boat together. We're all on the boat. Hey, man, you're cool. Eating lunch. They see your shows. Hey, I like your show. And then we all take a van together. We all got to split the money. And then we finally get to the hotel. comedians get $60 per diem. They don't.
Oh no.
Nobody could explain this to them.
Ah.
They just seen we get $60 and they're just looking and they're trying to get money. Dude, they just left them out. They're like, yeah, no money for you.
Wow.
And they couldn't get it. They're pointing. He
That's-
had me pull the stuff out of my pocket. He show them. I'm like,
That is brutal.
it's like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like, no.
See, even I can't explain why they didn't get paid though. You got to admit, they made a pretty good point.
Yeah.
Those guys are doing all the work.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
just bombing on a cruise ship.
Yeah. Yeah. How come the dude that wasn't funny gets paid?
Yeah, right. I've been carrying rice up these steps for the last 3 days.
Yeah, dude, you're right. I guess I couldn't explain to it either.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. There are different kinds of intelligence. Certain kinds of intelligence are more valued than others in terms of like technical knowledge. But I mean, you probably know stuff about cars.
Yeah, but no, I still am
If you
not
open up
enough.
a car, you probably understand, but you don't understand probably a lot more than just a regular person understands.
Yeah, I guess so. My father was really intelligent with cars. Like he fixed everybody's car always.
Yeah. And I mean, there's certain things, even most regular people couldn't open up a toilet and tell you what does what.
Yeah.
Or even like they can't even get in the ballpark of it.
See, I'm one of them dumb handy guys that I was lucky enough I got that opportunity. Remember that app we're on, that TaskRabbit? Dude, you just watch 5 videos.
Right.
Answer the questions, and then you're allowed. I could go drill holes in people's houses.
Yeah.
I had one time I was drilling a hole, and all the power shut off in the
Wow.
whole apartment.
You hit a wire or something?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was one of those things that made me chill out with TaskRabbit. Yeah. I didn't charge the guy. I'm like, look, man, I think it's best I just leave. You call your building. I covered the hole up.
Wow. That's the thing. There's like, it's not just about what it is you're good at and like where your intelligence is. It's also what people look at you and think that you'd be good at.
Yeah.
That's where everything comes from. It's all perception. So it's like if I look at you and it's like, oh, this guy probably knows how to fix a toilet. Even if you don't know how to fix a toilet, you just go watch a YouTube video real quick and say you walk back in the room confidently.
Well, the confidence is the hardest part.
Exactly. And confidence, part of that is just like, am I willing to admit that I don't know what I'm doing?
There's some people that are so confident when they don't. My confidence, I can't hide it. Like when I first walked into jobs, people would be like, dude, are you sure you can mount a TV?
Wow.
Because, I don't look the most savviest, smartest guy.
Well, that's not like a college degree, though. This is finding
Yeah.
a stud in the wall.
But I'm sure people seeing how I punctuate sentences and they were just like, I don't know how much detail this guy
Right,
is.
yeah.
One time I mounted a TV way too low. Dude, I couldn't. It was so dumb. I couldn't believe I did. The guy was like, are you pranking me? The TV was like 6 inches off the ground.
Wow.
It was just the way the mount worked. It was so crazy.
But it's not like you mount it and then you take a step back. And then you're like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Yo, my
I
bad.
was like, something's not right. You know what's funny? He added all the pressure. He's like, listen, I don't want a lot of holes in these walls, man. Just, measure it. Do what you got. Take your time. I'll pay whatever.
Yeah.
And then, dude, I did that.
Wow.
I couldn't believe I did it myself. I was on the phone with somebody, drilled the holes when I was kneeling down or whatever. The tape measure had a hole, so I'm thinking it's like 50 inches.
Wow.
Dude, I'm so dumb with it. Sometimes I make mistakes so dumb, I couldn't figure out how I even did it.
Wow.
I'd say, how'd I even do that?
Yeah, you build a dresser and it was supposed to be a bed. Like, the fuck
Right.
is this a dresser?
There's times I had like 2 shelves and one would be 8 inches higher than the other. They'd be like, well, did you notice it was off?
Well, because they're trying, if they're nice, they're trying not to offend you.
Yeah.
And they want to just, this guy's fucking it dumb. But it's like, that's what's funny though, is that like people can look at you and just assume where your competence is. It's like that's so superficial.
Yeah.
Some lady on TaskRabbit hired me to do her taxes, and I showed up, and on TaskRabbit they're looking at your picture, so she looked at my picture and thought this guy knows how to handle deductions and shit. And I go to her house, and it's like, I mean, I can figure this out.
Right.
But it was crazy because she hired 2 TaskRabbits at the same time. She hired me to do her taxes, and she hired this like Latino guy to like vacuum.
Well, do you think you could have vacuumed better than him?
I mean, who knows? The guy knows how to do taxes. Maybe he's like an accounting major or something. I figured it out. So,
Yeah.
you could figure out most things, I think.
That's where positive racism works out. I think it too. Like, I went to school. I used to copy off Asian kids. I
Right.
sat next to some dumb ones.
Right.
I'd
Yeah.
fail too. I'd be like, "God, come on, what are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a common stereotype. You just figure, man, come on, this dude's Asian.
But I feel like too, I mean, like learning stuff on YouTube, it's all about your attitude going in. It's like you look when you're first searching on YouTube and it's like, here's a 15-minute video about how to fix a toilet. Some people are going to look at that and think like, man, 15 minutes, I'm not learning this.
Right.
It's like, no, this is literally 15 minutes of your time. Maybe you watch it twice, 30 minutes, and now you know how to do something forever.
If you retain it.
Right.
See, that's something about you. You are actually smart, though. So it kind of fits.
It's not being smart. It's about going into something with the right attitude where it's like, all right, first time you open Adobe Premiere, it's like, this is very intimidating. But in my head, it's like, people have figured this out before. This program was made to be figured out. You're not supposed to go to college for this shit. So it's like, yeah, I'll figure out how to do the basics. And then when I learn how to do the basics, I'll do the more advanced stuff.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that would approach that and just think, nah, I can't do this.
Yeah, you see everything, all those little numbers. That's how I was.
Yeah.
Do you remember, has learning always been easy? Like, do you remember the first thing you ever learned?
No. That's the other thing, too. It's so funny to me that you're saying you don't know how football works.
First thing I
From
learned,
watching football.
like really learned,
Yeah.
was how to whistle.
Wow.
Yeah.
You took a class? Or?
No, my father tried teaching me for hours, and then like after a couple weeks, I got it.
Wow. What was the stumbling block there? It's just... I
guess-
feel like that was something I just saw someone do on TV or something.
Well, there's two levels to whistling.
Oh, it's like the put your
Yeah.
fingers in your mouth
Yeah,
whistle? I
yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah, no, I could do that.
Oh, wow. If you got to hail a cab or something?
Yeah, I could whistle so loud it'll blow your ears out.
Wow. But your dad trying to teach you about cars and stuff? And like, Dom, now today is the day you learn how to, change a spark plug or something.
He taught me a few things, He probably got frustrated. I mean, you got to think you just had a son and he's, dumb and lazy. You know me. Like, let's be honest. I wake up at 4 o'clock. I'm sure. I'm surprised he respected me at all.
Boxing, though? Clearly you learned that, right?
Nah, I just kept going. My trainer didn't really teach me.
Wow.
It really stems down to everything. I remember my trainer tried teaching me my whole thing. My foot couldn't stay out, but every time I did what I wanted to do, I won. And then when I'd be doing this stuff the trainer told me to do, he used to always want me to fight like Barrera. He'd always say it,
Right.
and my foot would be out. I walk with my feet out, but I'd be knocking people out cold, knocking them through the ropes.
Right. But maybe he was, maybe he made a point though. Like later on,
Yeah.
you can't. There's only so far you can go with your feet all messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason fighters stand a certain way, I think.
I couldn't get it. It's
Yeah.
hard for me to learn.
Man. Do you think so? Like, we were talking about like what AI, because everything is kind of coming down to AI at this point in terms of like how we're going to interact with the world. What in your mind do you think AI has? What's going to be the improvement in your life? The thing that you can't really do right now on your own that you're going to ask the computer to do.
It all depends on what it could do. Like, I feel like,
Because it's all about, it can do anything, but you got to know what to ask.
yeah, I mean, little things like, if I just start messing with it, I'll probably figure it out. Maybe like, ask me to like, maybe make it like write a blog. I try to make it work for me.
Right. What would you ask it to write, though?
I don't know. Maybe I could ask it to teach me. See if I can get some shock therapy. If I get the question
Yeah.
wrong, just buzz my phone or buzz me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, AI, how do you spell, scoliosis or something?
Okay, yeah.
And then I'm typing, I could easily put scoliosis. Or like, hey, AI, give me trending tags for a YouTube video. I treat it like a secretary.
Right, yeah. So do you think, like, going forward, have you given up on learning in general? Or is this something that you think that you're going to, like, your next step in life, you got to, start learning each of these things? Or is it just like, I'm going to maneuver around these things that I'm not very good at?
No, I'm gonna learn them. I'm learning the important things. Like, I don't have the passion to just learn for the sake of learning. Like, when you tell me, like, yeah, I just want to crack a book to learn something, I'm like, well, do you have a test coming up? Like, what- you know,
That's funny to me. That way, I mean, like, I guess it is a little unusual. I do spend a lot of time reading and stuff, but it's amazing to me. Lack of curiosity is that always blows my mind. When it's like there's so much you could learn, and it's like you clearly have the time to do it.
yeah,
You clearly have the energy for it, and yet so many people are just like, I'm not even gonna start this process.
yeah,
And
That-
even if it's things that they want to know,
yeah.
they want to learn. People say like, oh, I wish I knew how to edit videos, and it's like 2 hours you could figure out most of this stuff.
If you really crammed everything down, all the time I wasted and money and effort,
Yeah.
I could have easily got somebody and said, "Hey, man, I'll give you $250.
Yeah.
Sit down with me. I just need to learn these 3 things." And the
Exactly.
3 things I know now that I spent 500 hours learning.
Oh my god.
But now I know for the next time, it's easier to do it that way.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like me, even with art, like I put off painting because I'm like, I got to learn stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Learn how to mix paint and do this. I think a big thing with me is having to face the reality that I'm not good at something. It's so much easier
Yeah.
in my head.
Exactly.
To be like, oh, I'm a great comedian. The only reason I'm not successful is because I don't know how to edit, or I never did the YouTube.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for that, I'd be the best. But
Right.
just
Yeah.
facing
Starting out and being bad at something is very humbling.
Yeah, it is. Like, that's some great advice my father gave me. He said when he learned how to paint cars, the teacher said, hey, he was all nervous trying to get everything taped. He goes, hey, no, don't worry. He goes, we're just painting this one for fun. It doesn't matter how it turns out. Like, it was
Right.
like the 3rd car he painted. My dad was only like 11 or 12 years old painting cars.
Wow.
And he goes, Dom, just paint this one like you don't care about it because we're just doing it for fun. So we'll just do a quickie. So my dad just blew it out, few hours, painted it, and it was the best paint job he ever did.
Wow.
And then after that, he said just every car, he just got better and better. And he's probably painted 1,000 cars now.
Right. Well, just think though. I mean, like you started doing stand up at some point and you were bombing in the beginning,
Yeah.
but you stuck with it. So it's like, it's not like you don't have that instinct to stick with something.
No, I definitely got the instinct. That's the only reason. That's how I feel like when we're made, they balance us out, right? Like I got the willpower to just never give up, and I'm also everything's the hardest for me.
Right. Yeah.
know? Like even with stand up, dude, I feel like it took me way longer because I'm not as smarter, so I didn't see the whole picture, very much tunnel vision till now, and I'm like, man, I spent 12 years. I could have probably been way better.
Right.
If I
Right.
would
Yeah.
have just, did the podcast, did the process, tried to really say, let me make this joke work.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Same thing with stand up. I'm like, oh, if I put no effort in it, then I don't got to face the reality that I'm not the best.
Right. Right. Just think though, I mean, there's so many people because we're like trying so hard to do all this stuff, comedy and everything. So many people in the world don't have a thing that they're trying to do and get better at. You know what I mean? If you just have a regular job, you have like your regular your whole thing is just like, as long as I go to work every day, I'll be able to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And I basically know how to feed my kids at this point. So
Yeah.
it's not a, how am I going to make this work? It's not like a thing that you can give up on.
Yeah, and I'd much rather have what we're doing because those people are the same.
Yeah.
Where they have they still have something occupying their mind. What do you think's filling their head up?
I guess that's football, I guess, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Conspiracies.
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror. My right eye's too big.
Yeah.
I'm not going out.
Yeah, those are the people who end up on the internet being mad about something.
Yeah. Or those are the people, with no subscribers, no followers, and they're like, man, this video sucked. They don't want to face the reality. They probably have a dream too.
Yeah.
They probably want to play football, but they don't want to face the reality.
Right, yeah.
They'd have to learn.
That's what's so offensive to people when they think that a stand-up comic isn't good.
What?
Is that like, oh man, this guy is getting paid to do comedy, and I could have done that
Yeah.
and been just as bad, but at least I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah, and that's what sucks with comedy is you could do the same exact words that just destroyed 1,500 people.
Yeah.
And then you could go literally the next room, same exact words and nothing.
Right.
It's not like an instrument to where you're like, oh, man, that song sounded the same. That dude's good. I like that little twist he put on the end.
Yeah.
When he said, fuck all you people.
Yeah. So what do you think in like going forward from this point? What is it that you're trying to learn, and what are you trying to like improve on if you got to level up?
Yeah, I'm very one-tracked mind, man. Social media. Like, you know, I feel like I got stand-up down. I mean, I'm always going to be writing jokes and stuff like that, but I did a lot of stand-up. Now I just need to do something I should have done 3 years ago or 10 years ago, is just really go as hard as I could with social media.
Right, yeah. You think you're going to try to get back into dance class?
Yeah, I want to take a dance class. Dude, in the singing lesson, can you imagine if I started doing impressions, dancing, singing on the cruise ships?
Wow.
Game over, dude.
King of the hacks.
Yep. Buffet joke.
Yep. Fat
Did
jokes.
5 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know. We were talking comedians, me and 2 other comics. We just got on the boat. And I'm like, yeah, man, you know, I need to learn the guitar or something, be one of those hacks that just tunes it the whole time. And he just walks away, and I see that's what he does.
Oh, man. That's cold.
Yeah, he even had a song tuning the guitar.
Wow.
One time the piano guy said, oh, I was coming down here trying to lift some jokes from you guys. I always borrow your jokes.
Wow.
Piano guy told me that to his face. He's like, I do comedy on the cruises too sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you just steal jokes.
Wow. So even I feel like I'm so impressed sometimes, even if I see somebody who's like doing something kind of hacky, because it's like, even if it seems like they are stealing somebody's jokes and they're doing something that's not original, it's like, this dude is executing it perfectly.
Right.
At least there is something to it.
I mean, you definitely have the confidence if you're like, well, Chris Rock did it and it destroyed.
Yeah.
So,
well, not even that, but it's like, I'm going to pick up an instrument that I don't even really know how to play, and I'm going to stand in front of 1,200 people, and I'm just going to bullshit for 35 minutes. That is so hard to do.
right.
I know how to play guitar a little bit. I could never do that. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, you guys just tune it. That is an art that I guess it goes unrecognized.
Yeah.
Like that in itself. And dude, you kill. Like I know a guy knows probably 4 intros on the keyboard. That's it to very popular songs. Like one's Jingle Bells. Like,
Yeah.
very popular songs. And he just changes the words at last minute. But first thing, he'll be like, okay, I'm going to start. And then he'll burn that jingle bell. And then he'll look at the audience. Hold on now. He gets the little jokes going. Saying you've seen him do the intro 15 times to Jingle Bells.
Wow.
20 minutes is gone. Now, guys, come by tomorrow night. I'm going to do Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Wow.
It's the easiest song. Maybe they do the wedding thing. You know, couple little, very easy.
Wow.
You know, all this stuff really is just convincing people. Like, there's comedians I've seen come up, and I'm like, man, this dude's terrible. They're maybe lifting jokes. Maybe they're like, I don't know, doing whatever.
Yeah.
And then you see them a year, 2 years later, they're doing everything. And
Yeah.
it's like, yo, it was they had the confidence from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, like, confidence gets you so far. Especially, confidence gets you far in a situation where the person that you're trying to impress doesn't really know what's happening. The person in the crowd, they're not a comic. They don't understand how this works. So it's like, this guy must know what he's doing, or he wouldn't look so fucking excited on stage.
I always say that, like, you got, from the second you hit the stage, you got a few seconds there, maybe 10 at most,
Yeah.
and you could win them instantly, or you could lose them.
Oh, yeah.
They could easily see, oh, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, they can smell the blood.
Yeah, you can't wipe that confidence off.
Yeah. So what else are you trying to learn then?
Truthfully,
You learn Spanish?
I would like to learn Italian a little bit. I think that
Okay.
would be cool.
Yeah.
Learn a little language, get my brain working a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think when you talk about what's the basics of learning? Like when you say you need this base, like I do want to learn some sports, you know, some dance stuff,
Sports. I feel like,
maybe some old art literature.
yeah, I think you're getting a little ambitious.
Why to date with
Here's the thing: you gotta start small.
I had a date with this girl, and she had questions prepared about my favorite 17th century French artist.
Oh
I
man,
felt so dumb. I was like,
that's too much though.
yeah, she did homework for the date.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like a lot of this stuff, it's like, okay, what's the thing that everybody knows? The most basic thing that everybody knows, that a quarterback takes the ball and he can't cross this line. That is the foundation of football.
Yeah.
There's a line right here I can't cross. Once you watch football for like 10 minutes, you'll see that. So much of this is just like, I think, being open to learning.
Yeah.
It's not like not being resistant to it, because like, especially with football or watching basketball, some sports get a little bit more sophisticated, but you can see what the goal is.
Yeah.
We're watching boxing. Some people don't know how boxing works, but it's like, clearly I see what they're trying to do.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some common sense elements involved, but so much of the stuff too is like not trying to become an expert too fast. That's where people go wrong with like an instrument. People pick up a guitar and they want to start playing like Hendrix.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's 10 years in the future. But it's like, if that's your only goal is to do this really flashy Hendrix solo, you're not actually going to learn how to play guitar. Because you got to learn how to do the very simple parts first. 3 chords. Hey Joe.
Yeah.
And then you could get to, you start to graduate. But it's like, the problem is that people want to go too far, too fast.
Yeah.
Instead of learning how to throw a basic jab, it's like, no, I want to throw a 10 punch comp,
Right.
I want to do that Floyd Mayweather shit where I turn backwards and, spin around. And it's like, that it is part of boxing, but it's like, that is not where you need to be learning right now.
Huh. Yeah. Well, what about you? If you had one thing, what's the next thing you want to learn? I feel like you know everything. Like, if I just asked you a question about scoliosis, you'd be like, well, the 17th vertebrae in your lumbar. That is.
Nah, I mean, my thing right now is I'm trying to narrow down all the shit that I'm trying to learn, because I end up going on too many like weird journeys of shit and learning things that at a certain point, you reach a certain age, you realize there are limits.
Yeah.
And it's like, as good as it is to have a broad base, it's like, you got to be you have to respect the craft of what it is you're learning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you meet people who are trying to do stand-up, and it's like, what's 10 things I need to learn about stand-up right now that's going to make me a good comedian? It's like, I could give you a list, but it's like, that's not going to do anything for you.
Right.
You got to have some respect for the craft. It takes years to do. So it's like, when I'm trying to learn all this 3D animation shit, and it's like, I'm watching a 20-minute YouTube video. 20-minute YouTube video, it's a pretty long video to watch.
Yeah.
But that's also 20 minutes compared to somebody who spent 10 years learning this.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can learn the basics of it, and I can learn a few things, but you got to accept at a certain point that this is sophisticated for a reason.
See, learning's still so new to me because I never did it in school. Like, I checked out in like the 3rd grade. So even now, and I was the same way then, when I learn something, I get so excited. And it's like, now it's time to celebrate. Dude, like,
start multiplying shit.
Dude, I'm in my room, and I did something on Photoshop. I learned how to drop a file, and I'm like, dude, I'm pacing around. I'm calling my brother. He's like, well, what'd you do with the file? I'm like, I dropped it.
I picked that shit up and I dropped it.
Yeah. Like, I remember I was the same way. See, my thing is, I check out once it's like, all right, I learned all this stuff, and then they change it. Like, when shapes started getting 3-dimensional, that's when I think I quit learning in school. I'm like,
it's
what do
cube?
you mean? Yeah, no, it's a square. I just learned it's a square.
No, this is a sphere.
Yeah.
It's a circle.
Yes. Why do they got so many other names? I just studied these names.
I just got it down.
I was done.
Wow.
I'm like, this is way too much.
So to some extent, do you blame the education system, or do you blame yourself?
I blame the teachers. It's not really it's, because I had a teacher reach me years later.
Right.
I remember the teacher that made me check out, man. She had my father, our kindergarten teacher. She's like, I know your father well. You're never going to be able to learn. She showed me. Wow. She's like, I wrote a letter to your grandmother. Ask your grandmother. I went home. I said, no. Is there a letter from the school Dad can't learn? And she pulled it out.
Wow.
And then you see her response, my grandmother's response was, make him do it if you have to use force.
Oh, wow.
You have to use force. My dad's telling me, I got paddled all the time. He just couldn't learn.
And clearly the paddling didn't work.
Yeah. See, I think he learned different ways. Like he told me when he was changing a starter, he dropped a bolt and his dad punched him in the mouth. And he's like, yeah, never drop that bolt again. And I'm the same way.
Wow.
I'm like, I think he was 6 years old changing a starter on a station wagon.
There is a better way you can teach a kid to change a starter, though.
Yeah.
I think that's the wrong conclusion to draw from that story. It's not that this method worked.
Yeah.
No, I just punched a kid for some reason. I created some different problems.
Yeah.